Alright. Calm down. Relax. Listen, hear me out. I am coming from the earnest and ignorant perspective of an anime only.
Dumbass!
Yes, to all of you manga readers, anime only. So in this video about the protagonist of the story and the protagonist of the prequel, there is definitely a lot of information I do not know about Yuta, but I still want to make the argument because JJK0 was that gas. And of course, the beginning of JJK Season 2 not featuring Itadori is of course leading me to believe that maybe I would have liked a little bit more Yuta, so leave me alone. And I also don't know if it's pronounced Utah like the state or like Utah or...
Can you shut the fuck up?
Give me a break, calm down. But while you manga readers make fun of me in the comments, I'm gonna get into why, and I'm not gonna get into like power or whatever, because honestly, when you watch a lot of shonen anime, do you really even care about strength like that anymore? And also, that's not any way to juncture who should be the main character or not, because that's a little stupid. And we're not stupid people here, alright?
Really start to irritate me.
Get into the character traits, how they fit into the story, and what we would actually want in a shonen protagonist. So let's jump into the Yuta versus Itadori. We gotta start with the negatives towards Itadori first, because that's what everyone wants to hear. So let's get into it. Itadori's main push and main thing that gets him going, gets him out of bed, is the fact that he wants to help people. Now wait up. We really, in this world, he really said that, and we all just went along with it like, yeah, that's valid. Like, that's a great motivation. Like, that is gas. That's what we want every protagonist to have. They want to help people.
Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
What do you mean you want to help people? Obviously you want to help people. What kind of motivation is that? What is that gonna do? That does not connect me to you. That is not something that is really crazy at all. He wants to help people? Of course, obviously, every protagonist does. Now, of course, I'm joking around a little bit. We can get into some of the other negatives, but I do want to say, for that to be his line that gets him going, Naruto wants to be the Hokage, Asta wants to be the Wizard King, so what if they're similar? Luffy wants to be the Pirate King, so what if they're all similar? Denji has a truly unique motivation, but you want to help people? What are we talking about? What are we talking about here? Of course, there's other factors too. The other negative around Itadori, and we're all gonna say it, we've all seen it, is of course the trait of having a cursed object or monster inside of you. Of course, Yuta has it too. It's a little bit different, but Yuta at least has a spin on it. Itadori straight up has like the strongest character in the series, and him interacting with him in that Kurama style is really interesting. And another part about Itadori that you have to bring up whenever talking about the circumstance of the story is Megumi and Nobara are of course have to be taken into account, because how he bounces off of them is of course a factor, and the fact that Megumi is basically just like Sasuke. And of course, before you say it, a lot of shows have dark-haired characters that are like Sasuke, but Megumi is like literally like Sasuke. Come on now. And Nobara is fine. I like Itadori and hers interactions. They're hubby, they're chill. But are we really like going crazy over it? No. And of course too, he's also, on top of that, unlike Naruto, who was like weak and couldn't do anything, Itadori has all these insane physical feats too. He's beating the shot put record, throwing it like a baseball. He's doing all this stuff. He's a 1 in a million to take the Sukuna finger. Of course, there's circumstances in the story, and that's fine. But he has a lot of caveats to him where it's like, wow, he really is him in that situation. And now we're gonna get to Yuta. Him and Rika are similar. Very similar. Very similar to that. So that's obviously somewhat of a negative towards him too, but to the same regard, that's wrapped up very quickly at the end of Zero. And of course, it's a different relationship too. Yuta and Rika are not the same because Rika wants to protect him no matter what. Rika doesn't want to kill him. So it's a different situation. And I think having Yuta, who's like that emo kid, he's a little weird, he's awkward, would have been a pretty interesting protagonist to have in the shonen, because how often do you really have a shonen protagonist who's not going crazy and going nuts all the time? I honestly feel like Yuta has a lot of similarities to what a side character would be. Well, I guess he is a side character, but seeing the story from that perspective would have been really interesting to me. And the big thing too is how he interacts with Maki and Panda are very, very, very much more so what I want to see in the story than seeing Itadori's interactions with Megumi and Nobara. Now, the big caveat with Yuta though is we saw in Zero, out of nowhere seemingly, against Geto, they were like, yeah, he's been training for 3 months, and then all of a sudden in the Geto fight, he's using all these reverse curse techniques, all these crazy techniques that we've never seen him train before or learn before. So in this story, in this hypothetical world with Yuta being the main character, he probably would need to be a little bit weaker at the end of JJK 0. But with that being said, I think he does pretty alright. But seeing a shy character who's controlled, and his main motivation, he wants to protect his friends, and we see that more so in a way where it's like he honestly would not do a thing. He would not even train if it wasn't for his friends. We saw this in the shopping mall. We saw this with Maki against Geto. We saw this in the instance when they were inside the curse's stomach. It's very much so more of a I want to protect you type of thing. And yes, Itadori's whole I want to help everyone is similar, but it's not expressed in the same way. It's not written in the same way where you really see many instances where it's like, okay, that makes sense. We see Itadori struggling when he's outside the school, like, oh, should I go in, should I not? And then he's like, Grandpa said I gotta help people, so I gotta go help people. Like, what? Like, what? Like, that was it? In my eyes, it's way too general of a motivation to really be meaningful and have a lot of hold on me in my interests. And then in terms of seeing Itadori, who has this really outgoing personality, he's crazy, he's telling jokes, it's just something I've seen before a lot. And I don't think Itadori is that much more different than all of these other protagonists. Now, should I really hold that against him? Probably not. I should be looking at this as an isolated thing. But in this world of anime where we're all watching multiple shows, should we really not take that into account? Like, of course, we have to. Imagine if a superhero show came out and it was just like Spider-Man. Oh wait, that's what they all are. But anyways, you know what I'm saying. Like, in an instance, we can't just look at Itadori and not compare him to all these other protagonists when Yuta is way more unique. Comparing Megumi to Panda. Megumi is a character we've seen all the time. Panda is literally just Panda. That's it. Panda, start and end a panda. I want to see him talk to Panda and not Megumi, who's brooding because his family was killed and he doesn't know who his dad is.
Calm down.
That was a little harsh, but it's okay. Has this been the worst video you've ever seen? If so, drop a like and subscribe and go crazy at me in the comments because I am a JJK casual and I'm sure you can tell by now. So let's get back into the idiocy. Nobara probably shines the most because she's gonna get compared to Sakura, and Naruto is my favorite anime, so my perspective on Sakura is the same as everyone else's perspective on Sakura. So Nobara is cool, but I still think Maki has a lot more depth to her too, with the fact that her connection to her clan, her connection to her sister, the fact that she can't use cursed energy, seeing Yuta bounce off that in my eyes is way more interesting than seeing Itadori bounce off Nobara. And at this point in the story, Nobara hasn't been fully fleshed out, of course, but seeing Itadori die was interesting. But that was a moment where you thought he was going to come back and at least change a little bit, and I feel like he really wasn't. And in terms of what would fit in the story, of course, taking Itadori out would change the whole Sukuna finger thing and essentially change the whole premise. In this world, Yuta would likely be the one protecting Itadori. It would be a very similar premise, but Itadori would need to be protected by Yuta the whole time. And honestly, a lot of my stuff with Itadori is just he's so similar to other characters. I don't even know if that's a valid criticism to have. Young Gojo would also have been a great protagonist, also completely changing the story in the end of that little 5-episode arc. But Young Gojo could have also been a really strong protagonist because it's also something we haven't seen before. And honestly, Itadori is good. I enjoy his humor. I enjoy his scenes. He does well. He is entertaining. But I just wanted a little bit more flavor, and I think that's what Yuta would have given me. Now, let me know what you think down below. Do you agree? Do you not? Is this just crazy? Am I a complete baboon? Is this the worst take you've ever heard? Because it's coming from a JJK casual, so give me a break. Alright, this is a casual perspective. So if you enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe, check out my One Piece videos because they actually make sense unlike this video. And don't forget, we're just getting started. We're going to stay consistent, and I'll see you in the next video.